Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Eid Mubarak. This Eid is Eid Al-Adha, and it's in honor of the sacrifice Abraham alayhi salam made of his son Ismail. So, as a Christian, we actually believed and were told in the Bible that it's Isaac or Isaac that is sacrificed to Allah instead of Ismail. And the difference being that Isaac is the son of Sarah, which in Christianity, Sarah is the rightful wife of Abraham, the only wife of Abraham. But in Islam, we know that he also had Hajar as his second wife, in which Hajar gave him a son, Ismail. And Christianity puts a lot more stock on Isaac as like the rightful son, the more pure line, for instance, of the prophets. It doesn't recognize Hajar or Hagar as a second wife. They think she is just a concubine of Abraham, astaghfirullah. But in Islam, Sarah, she wasn't able or wasn't fertile, so she told Abraham to marry Hajar, because also at the time they were traveling, and instead of Hajar being a temptation to Abraham by being in the same quarters, in the same tent all the time, Sarah told Abraham to take her as a second wife, so she wouldn't be a hindrance to his iman. And so in Islam, we do understand her to be a legitimate wife of Abraham. And Ismail was actually born before Isaac. And so in a dream, Allah told Abraham to sacrifice his most beloved, his son Ismail. And when he told Ismail, Ismail submitted to that. And he said, Father, you should do as you're told by Allah. And so the pure submission and genuine following of Allah is not only seen by Abraham alayhi salam, but also Ismail, who is the line of the lineage leading to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet Muhammad. So I think it makes a key difference between Christianity and Islam is that which son was sacrificed, and also in Christianity there's the story of how the sacrificial ram was given to replace Isaac as the sacrifice, in which just as Abraham was about to sacrifice his son, a ram was spotted in a nearby bush and given as a sign of Allah, like that you should sacrifice this ram instead. And your willingness to sacrifice your most beloved son is rewarded, and that to Allah everything belongs, and we are from Allah and to Allah we return. So that submission and obedience to His order, His guidance is the most important. And that's in both Christianity and Islam. But in Christianity, the ram is given as just about before Abraham is going to sacrifice Isaac. But in Islam, Ismail asks to be blindfolded so that his submission to Allah isn't hindered by any subconscious fear of being sacrificed, and he won't move or try and escape the sacrifice as Abraham is about to, kill him. So he's blindfolded, and Abraham does indeed go through with the sacrifice, but when he looks, because of course in any father that fear and loss is an intense emotion, that he wasn't looking directly at Ismail as he was about to sacrifice. He was, giving dua and saying, to Allah is the will, the permission of everything. To Allah I make this sacrifice. And when he looked down, there was a ram instead of Ismail, and Ismail was actually beside him. So in this subtle difference between Christianity and Islam, it shows the dedication and full completion of the sacrifice that Abraham made, where in Christianity the ram is given just before that sacrifice is made. In Islam, that substitution, that ram, is given as he completes his sacrifice. What he thinks, his action, his sacrifice, his willingness to give his son to Allah. And he looks and there's a ram instead. So there's not only the understanding of giving up your most beloved son, and at that time his only son, Ismail, but the dedication to Allah, the obedience of Ismail to Allah's plans as well. The action was rewarded. And so Eid Al-Adha is where we sacrifice an animal, either a goat or a cow, for remembrance of sacrificing our most beloved for Allah, because Allah created us all, and Allah will take us all in His time and by His will. And so growing attached to the material things in this world, even the people around us, it shifts our focus to think that they're ours and we have control over their place in our life, that we have control over when we will let them go. And Abraham alayhi salam showed that it's not up to us, it's up to Allah. And our obedience, our submission to Allah's will is rewarded. And so today we recognize that sacrifice. And also, I think for me, it is difficult to see the taking of a life in real life. Like, I have grown, like many people, desensitized to violence and, killing on the screen. But this morning, when I was on the rooftop praying Fajr, I was also looking down on the sacrifices being made and seeing the streets run red with blood and watching the process of the butchering. And I've experienced butchering before, but I've never been present for the actual taking of a life. And a lot of people say that I'm too sensitive, that I'm soft towards animals, that they're just animals, but it's still a life, and it makes me emotional, but also I think it really does remind me that we're doing it for the sake of Allah, and 1/3 of it is going to feed the poor. And so this donation, this sacrifice benefits more than just me and my family. It benefits everyone. But In Shaa Allah, everyone has a blessed Eid, and that all of your dua and repentance be accepted by Allah. In Shaa Allah. May Allah keep you happy, healthy, and safe. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.